a denial for yourself. You deserve it all, right? But um, doing it, but not expecting anything back. And I think in these times right now, it's time for us to give some good deeds, do some good things for individuals that we forgot about, that we thought that we never, or we think we never were gonna be there. And I think in these times that people need help, um, we're doing. Hey, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you so much for taking your time to sitting down and listening to my blabbling, if that's even a word, my rants here on YouTube and other platforms as well. Try to keep it positive as much as possible because I think there's so much negativity out there that I wanted to just share some positivity. And whether, again, I do this because I love talking, I love discussing um, some of my thoughts and ideas that I have. So I figured why not make some videos, right? And before I get to my point, I really want to go to a video. I was talking about my last video, but the point of detachment and um, why we're here, kind of to do what we love, right? And I think that for me, as at least for me, um, I had the belief that you had to do what you had to do, right? And it didn't matter if you loved it or not. You just do what you got to do and accomplish these um, type of goals, accolades, whatever it may be that we have for ourselves. And when I started questioning where these accolades came from, where exactly these goals I had to reach, most of them weren't my goals. They weren't my accomplishments. There were things that I've heard that you had to accomplish by a certain age. You had to do this by this certain age. That you had to attain this. That you had to have the perfect family and the perfect, I would say, investments and strategies and all these things. And I love numbers. I love finance. I studied that. I loved it so much that I worked in the banking industry for a couple of years. And I saw individuals that had all these P's and Q's, as they say, in line, all the numbers in line, and investments and savings and the wealth, and they still were very, very kind of not alive. I say alive in their energy, the way they moved around, the way they saw life. They still had a lot of, a lot of them have had there's nothing wrong with therapy, but they were having therapy. They still were struggling with certain inner conflicts, even though they had all those numbers in place. So I started realizing, like, so obviously our happiness, our fulfillment, does not really determine, is not really determined by what we accomplish as far as external things, right? Of course, you're gonna get there, but I feel that to sacrifice our happiness to attain these goals first, sacrificing our happiness and having these things, and then accomplishing these things, and then realizing that they're not what we thought they were, then we kind of feel like we've been lied to. We've been chasing the wrong thing. And there's a great quote by Jim Carrey that he talks about it, and I've posted it on my social media platforms a couple of times. And he states that he wishes that everybody would get rich and famous and buy everything they wanted to buy, and see that that is not their um, role, or that is not the key to happiness. And don't any of us, don't all of us wish we can accomplish these things first and understand that that's not going to bring us happiness, right? So obviously, as I do my in-depth learning and learning about what makes us tick, what brings us fulfillment, what is a fulfilled life, right? A lot of individuals call it minimalism. I feel that you live your life basically to what makes you happy. Everybody's different. Everybody has different needs, right? We are all different human beings, right? Um, and in a sense, being the needs and that we have most of the basic needs are met on a daily basis. We have food, water, shelter, and some basic entertainment here and there. But those basic needs that we've seen now in quarantine, we have a lot of basic needs that are being taken care of. Now, I feel that a lot of individuals don't have those basic needs, and they know they definitely need to be helped and aided in these times of need right now, right? And I think it's our duty. Now, again, it's in my opinion. If you've been blessed, you have all your basic needs. It is our duty to help those that don't have the basic needs, because that is just the humanness of all of us, and that's a different topic. But in a real topic of discussion that I was talking about right now. Sorry, I lost track. Got some visitors over, but like I said, I became interested in learning about the happy, what makes us tick, what makes us happy. What do we actually need to be, to function on a daily basis? And I've researched, and this has been proven, that having gratitude. So, going back to the topic, obviously gratefulness, right? Contentment, I think, is one of the things we kind of lose sight of. I feel that when I talk about contentment, to a lot of individuals, they feel that contentment is just you giving up, right? Not doing anything, not having the goals, desires, not having no type of ambition. And I don't want to confuse it here neither. Contentment in no way means that you're giving up ambition or you're giving up your goals, desires. What contentment basically is no matter where you're at, no matter how far you've gone, what you have accomplished, even if you feel that you need to accomplish more, you're content with where you are, right? Because that race of getting to some place to have the happiness, obviously, as all we all know, it will never end. We will always want more, right? You can have a certain amount of money, you save up for it, you feel like now you want more. And so it's never an ending cycle. You're never going to have fulfillment if you believe in that perspective and you keep on searching on that. So the number one thing I always say is, obviously, we said gratitude. Number two, contentment of where you are. And gratitude, I think they all come together, because you're grateful for where you are, you're content. When you're grateful, you're content. And you just, there's a paradox of when you're content and you don't need outside things to bring you happiness and to bring you value, you receive more of it. And he said it in the book as well here, Wayne Dyer. The paradox is, the less you do, the more you get, right? And we're not talking about just like kind of isolating yourself and not doing anything. He's talking about doing what you love, just doing it because you love it, but not getting attached to, again, we said in the last video, to the results, and not feeling like you're gonna. All right, everyone, just continuation to my last one. Really want to just finish off here on where detaching from what other people feel like they're, they. I know for me, I'm trying to come to a point here. Excuse me, but we most of the time we have lived most of our lives based on how others gonna perceive us, perceptions of other people, and that never brings contentment, right? Because you're always gonna be perceived from that person's perception. And Jay Shetty had talked about, he has a great quote, and I think that kind of hit home when I heard about this, because I think I live my life to some extent like this, right? He says your perception of yourself is your perception of yourself is the perception of what that person's perception is of you. I know it doesn't make sense. You have to kind of look at it and read it a couple of times, but most of the time we think we need to do things because of what others are gonna think, how we're gonna look, or how we're supposed to be to them, or how we look to them. And it could be to parents, it could be to friends, colleagues, just neighbors. Oftentimes we are afraid to live the lives that we want to live, right? Do the things that we want to do, and just to do them. I think there's been a disconnect where I've noticed, including myself as well, that doing what you love is gonna be more, I would say, compensation wise, than doing what you don't love. And that's not always the case. Sometimes you're doing what you love, but you might just do it because you love it, and there might not be no compensation for it, and that's okay as well. obviously you want to have that. That's probably the where you want to be in life, where you get to do what you love, and obviously have abundance and wealth about it. But if you believe that how this universe works, everything has a way of working itself out, right? Whether you don't understand it, it works itself out. So I think in that perspective, you first have the fact that you want to have the gratitude and you want to have the contentment, but also releasing that desire. I would say not desire, but that constant thought of what would the neighbors say. As I was listening to Lewis Hayes, she was talking about that as well. We live our lives, most of us, thinking afraid of what the neighbor's gonna say, what others gonna say. We even dress certain ways because we are afraid of what other people are gonna say. Do you ever think about what you wear your clothes? If you think about it, you don't just wear whatever you feel like wearing. You wear it according to what you feel those people are gonna say about you if they see you outside, right? Most of us. Um, Even myself, you like, oh, this doesn't look right. I'm gonna go, to an event or whatever with these type of pants on or shorts, or shoes, because you like what are people gonna say. That's kind of ingrained in our minds, and that's something that we use and we carry over to our um, own perception of our own life, in the sense of how we act and how we take action on our own fulfillment and our own contentment. And as you get older, if anybody as young out there is watching, it's still a little bit hard to understand because you're just growing, and we're always growing. But as you get older, you realize that your contentment, your peace, your happiness is really unattached to the external stuff that other people think of you, or possessions, or anything else, um, that we been told that is the way to, to it. Um, and there's a great example that I was given in the book, um, where they say, and this is a real life scenario as well. Sometimes, um, some individuals, I've had that as well. I stayed at a job that I didn't like. I'm gonna give a quick example, real life scenario. I stayed at a job I didn't like, um, because I felt that I wanted to have that raise at the end of the year, right? Now, I did not know what the raise was going to be. I felt that if I worked my ass off, I worked hard, I would have a substantial amount. I could ask for a certain amount of money, and it would come to me. And not only did I not really like the job, my boss at the time was really, 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 really unsupportive. Maybe a harassment if you want to put that in there as well. But I made the best of it. I forgave. I made it work. I kind of had discussions about how we're going to treat ourselves, especially that we worked in close proximity, and we made amends and we worked kind of well, after. But even then, appreciation wasn't there. We were just working, and my yearly review came, and uh, I think it was like a 50 cent raise, something like that, or a dollar raise. And I felt that although obviously it's better than nothing. I'm not gonna say I'm not grateful, but I felt like I was expecting something more, and also I had worked my ass off so hard that I knew that I deserved more. And at that moment, I realized, um, and also Jim Carrey says in his quote as well, I felt that I worked my ass off in this thing that I didn't like, and I still didn't get what I really wanted. And I realized that I didn't really want to be there, not because of that situation, but because I was just doing it for the money. I was just doing it to receive that compensation, and then my enjoyment for the process I didn't really care for it. So I think that's the way I want to look at any passions that we have here. If you're trying to start something, and your first thing is how much you're gonna make, you're gonna be deceived along the way, because you're gonna put your work, you're gonna put down your head, you're gonna work hard, and then when you don't receive that compensation, you're gonna feel like you've been lied to. You're gonna feel, depressed, anxiety, and you're gonna kind of even question why you even thought about doing this. And that is where I think a lot of us get lost. We're following the compensation, and we forget about ourselves, um, our health, our mental health, our um, excitement, our curiosity, uh, learning new things. So we're much more we're much more expansive than that. We're definitely a lot more than just living to the next raise, living to the next promotion. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. If that is what you want to do and that is what makes you happy, that is all great and all. But if you're not, that's not for you. You have to, I think, decide it and be okay with not wanting that. I think we feel like if most people want that, you have to want it. No, be okay with what you want, and that's something that a lot of us have trouble with, right? Including myself. So if I stop blabbing here today, um, just do what you do or do what you love just because of the love. In the sense that you do favor somebody, you do it for them because it makes you feel good, not because you want to expect something from them. And I think that changes the dynamic. If you do something for somebody that's kind, but you expect them to do it for you, or you return a favor, and I think that is where we get lost. Be kind just because that's who you are, right? Do good deeds just because that's who you are. At the same time, I think accepting the good deeds has been also a struggle for me as well. Like I'll do a good deed and then somebody will return it, and I'll be like, oh no, I don't deserve it, and you gotta stop yourself there right there because that's a little bit of a denial for yourself. Um, you deserve it all, right? But um, doing it but not expecting anything back, and I think in these times right now, it's time for us to give some good deeds, do some good things for individuals that we forgot about, that we thought that we never, or we think we never were are gonna be there. And I think in these times that people need help, um, we're doing it, and we're doing it because we want to help, not because you want to look a certain way to other people. You're being charitable. No, you're doing it because humanness is coming from us that we want to do it. And I just want to end the night on that because right now a lot of individuals are not able to have food or shelter because of this pandemic crisis, and a lot of companies out there, a lot of charities are doing great work, helping those in need. Because not all of us are have been blessed with the wealth and also the access to all these benefits that we're getting right now. So those that don't have access to that, I think for those of us that are a little bit more able to withstand, we need to help out. We could help out as much as we can. Every little bit counts. So, and also shows how human we are. Right? There's no better feeling than giving and making others, uh, blessing others with all the blessings you've received already. So, I hope you guys take that into consideration and think about donating if you can to some charities that are helping out the underserved and the ones that really do need the help in these times of uncertainty. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.